I believe that our shared history will best state our case for the existence of the CT Global Token. What follows is a simple set of factual statements which I believe we can all understand and relate to. These are statements of fact, not hopes and dreams constructed on newly minted concepts many of us still struggle to understand. The CT Global Token is commerce at its most basic level. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday. Oh boy, is it a Monday. 4th day of December, 2017. Glad to have you with us. I had a little special audio file to play, but then it turned out that none of the audio files wanted to play, and so we're just gonna, what do they call that? Unplugged? Yeah, we're unplugged today. So anyway, I'm glad you're all here. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. For those of you returning, welcome back. My goodness, we're well into our second decade. And those of you that are here today for the first time, if you lift your hand, one of the ushers will bring you a bulletin. Just kidding. But we are glad you're here, whoever you are, wherever you are. Normally, I go through the numbers and say a lot of quippy, cute things before Michael does the recap. But he's been patiently waiting for the beast to boot, so I guess all we can do at this point is just say, Michael, take it away.
Okay, I am here.
If you're ready.
I am here and I am ready.
Because if you're not, I can be quippy.
No, I got it.
Okay, buddy.
I got it right here.
Come on down.
Ta-da.
Okay, let's start.
All right, there we go. We're now looking at the spreadsheet.
Now I am. Okay, I'll hit mute.
Okay, all right. I will get this rolling, and hopefully you'll be booted up by the time I am done. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 4th day of December, 2017. December, can you imagine that? We're all the way in the last month of the year already. My spreadsheet's going to be way off at the end of the month. You see how the title is 2013 to 15? We're going to be in 2018 before you know it. Anyway, it goes all the way back to January 2nd of 2013. Okay, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at cfrn.net. And right here at the very top, it says, sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you will be sent to this page, where we simply ask for your email address, your first name, and how you found us. Then just hit the submit button. Once you hit that submit button, then we know that you took the trial. Okay, we don't know it until you hit that submit button. Well, actually, we don't know then either. Then you sent a confirmation link, and you have to click on that confirmation link. Then we know you took the trial. Okay, once you click the confirmation link, we know. It's called the double opt-in, so you don't get spammed. Okay. All right, so that is how you get the free trial. Now, spreadsheet. You're going to read the spreadsheet. You're going to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we didn't have a very active day today. Most of our opportunities were on gold. We did miss a few in other markets. I think all the ones we missed turned out to be winning or break-even trades. But in gold, we started out with well, I'll get into it in the charts in just a minute. With gold, we were plus 15 on the morning. That's plus $150 a contract. We were break-even on the euro, break-even on crude. Those were the only other two markets we were in. It took 43 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day today, and when we did, we're up 150. And we took 4 more trades, all which were break-even. All right, so on the month now, we're at $391. That's over 2 days, averaging $195 per day. Okay, on the year, we're at 31,260. That's over 226 days, averaging $138 per day. Okay, averaging $138 per day. Now, we'll minimize that and get into the gold. Okay, now in the pre-market here, you can see gold had a nice bounce off the BBC right here. Great move up right there. That was in the pre-market. We didn't catch that. Right over here is where we started, 936. We took a short. It came within 1 tick of hitting our goal for the day, but we locked in 6 ticks, and so we got out with 6 on that one. The next one was right here. We stopped out minus 8 ticks. The next one was right here. So after this, we're at minus 2. Then we picked up 2 here to get back to 0. Then right here, we picked up 15 ticks to get the goal for the day. We had 1 more break-even trade, and during the break, there was a shorting opportunity right here. We did actually do that one, and we got plus 4 on it. After that, there was nothing. There was no follow-through at all during the break. Okay. The plus 4 that we picked up on that, we didn't add to the total. Yes. Okay. You were hearing background noise. David, was that before? Are you still hearing background noise? Because it could be my microphone. Okay, yeah, we still got to work some things out. We still got to work some things out. We'll get it figured out, though, one way or another. All right, the euro. Look how choppy it was in here. It was nasty choppy. Then it finally started to trend, and we had a break even there and a break even there, and then it got choppy again. Right over here, there would have been a short right there. So you might have been able to get a little something out of it. Probably not too much, though. Crude. We ended up with a break even. You can see I put my entry arrow on there, but I did not put my exit arrow on there. Ended up break even over here. We almost stopped out of that one, but we ended up break even on that. Let's see. Early on, there was one right here that we missed. Okay. And then there was this one that we took, and we got a break even on that. During the break, there was nothing at all on the crude during the break. The Russell, we didn't do anything with the Russell today. You know, the ES, early on, the ES was near a zone, and so we couldn't do anything with it. But it did move around. Look at it. It moved all around. We had a short there, along there. You know, if the ES was not near a zone, and a short there, and it must have been. Otherwise, I would have been doing something with these. Along there, a short there, a short there, another short there that would have been a break even, and a short here. That was a really nice looking trade right there. If the ES was not in a zone, and it must have been, otherwise I would have been doing something with these, but there would have been a long there and a short there. And wow, a lot of movement here. A short there, there, and there. You can see I highlighted those. We would have needed to break dynamic resistance here, so there was nothing there. Then along there that didn't go anywhere. And you see I highlighted that one. Along there, well, we weren't really trending, so we wouldn't have done anything with that. A short there, and a short there. Change directions, a long there, a short there. And that was it on the Russell. There was a lot of opportunity there on the Russell. Okay, if the ES was not in a zone. But you can see the ES was in and around zones all morning. Let's back this out. And I think I had highlighted this one opportunity here this morning. Right here for that leg up. And then it got really choppy and sideways all the way through here. Okay, finally it broke down through the zone and it gave a shorting opportunity right there. Right there. Put that leg down, and that was it. There was nothing else in there. Okay. Hang on. Let me look here. Just refresh. Bitcoin is at $11,345. Interesting. Okay. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 4th day of December, and we made 15 ticks on gold. Okay. Took 43 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 150, and we took a total of 8 opportunities. So on the month now, we're at 391.25. That's over 2 days, averaging 195 per day. And on the year, we're at 31,260. That's over 226 days, averaging 138 per day. 138 per day. And that's that part of it. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page here at CFRN.net. Right up here at the top, it says sign up for the CFRN Live Training Room. 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, you're going to be brought to this page. On this page, we simply ask for your email, your first name, and how you found us. Click on the submit button. Once you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click on the confirmation link, well, you will not get a free trial because we don't know you took the free trial until you click that confirmation link. Okay? And that's it. So with that, I can pass it back out to Studio A, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Oops. Guess I can put my headset on.
Here's Dwayne.
Here's Dwayne.
You know what? I gotta hang up on this one here. Just push it to me, and if it's the wrong one, push it to the other one.
Okay, I will try this one. Is that the wrong one? Is that the right one or the wrong one?
I don't know. I got no way to. I think it's the other one.
Okay. How about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Something happened to my secondary computer when it all loaded up today, and parts didn't load, like the audio part. So, alright guys, let me show you this really quick and then we'll get into all the other stuff. Just want to show you, Michael just told you where Bitcoin was trading. And
yes.
Now, I've told you guys a couple times that for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, but it seems as if Bitcoin stages a rally every Sunday night. Now, I haven't been tracking it long enough to be able to say that it's a truth about trading. I can't speak about it with the confidence I do weekly trading zones, but we're on the way to see the wizard. And so I did publish last night at emini.cfrn.net the first Bitcoin weekly trading zones. Just a test. Once they're refined, our partners will enjoy them each and every week along with the other weekly trading zones that they get. Now the next target overhead, the next overhead, we're trading, what was it, Mike? 11.3.
I thought it was 11.365 or something like that.
Well, on these charts, I'm showing 11. You may be looking at real time, and I may be looking at delayed. That's possible.
Okay. That is possible.
But the next, okay, yeah, the next zone overhead will be 11.970/11.975. So, just want to throw that out there and let you know. Now, I'll give you an idea of why we think weekly trading zones are just doggone important. Let me find crude oil. Okay, now these are still last week's zones. Now it does happen. It did, and you know this happens, and I tell you when it does. 58.75/80. That was also a zone last week. Okay. Is that right? 58.70, 58.75. Hold on there. Yeah, okay, both of these are last week's zones. However, look what price did. It ran from the zone right up to the zone, and then it did an about face and went leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace, and hit the zone. Now, from 57.65 to 58.75, I think that's actually about $1,200 per contract. I just called it 1,000. 1,000 up, 1,000 back down. So that's why weekly trading zones are important. That's why some partners choose to just trade the zones, and most partners do use them as a backdrop to their trading. But now this happened on December 1st. These zones were sent out to the partners a week ago Monday on 11/27. 11/27, right? And you're done early for the week. Now, do they always lay out that perfectly? Well, I gotta tell you, no. In fact, last week on the S&P, we blew out the highest weekly zone, and then on Friday it looked like we were going to come back and close below the highest zone, and then we just started drifting higher. And then last night the S&P 500 gapped pretty considerably from roughly 26.45 to 26.53. Pretty good gap. You would think after that gap, boy, we're going to see some action tonight. Well, yeah, not so much. I guess what's going to happen here is leg retrace, and this is going to come down and try to close the zone or close the gap, because so many traders have this thing about gaps and how they have to be closed, and so I don't know. Okay, I said welcome. Oh, I didn't tell you how to see the charts. Oops. Go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered through the end of the month. You only have to register once. You can also go to youtube.com/CFRN/live, and again, you'll see charts, a chat box, and if you bookmark the page, you'll have one-click access. Okay? All right. Should have got that out of the way before Michael did the recap and brought out all those charts. I usually do, but today, alas, I did not. Okay, so much to cover, so little time to cover it all. Why don't we ask Michael what the recap of the recap was? Or is he already on the phone? That dude is already on the phone. You know, he's probably the hardest working guy in Emini Futures. That's what I'm just saying, you know. Not trying to suck up or anything. I don't need to, but yeah. That's my Mikey. Alright. I will bring up the numbers from around the world, as I do. I've already brought this up. Alright. Well, that server really threw me a curve opening the show today. Yeah, but we'll overcome. We shall. Alright, these are the cash markets from around the world. We'll start here in the US of A. As soon as my page finishes loading. Loading. Dow soars 230 points higher to record as street cheers Senate passing tax bill. Alright, here we go. In the US of A, cash markets, the Dow is up 182 points. NASDAQ down 29. S&P 500 up 11. And the Russell 2000 up 12.5. Movers and shakers, the Dow over 0.5%. S&P 500 almost 1%. And the Russell 2000 almost 1%. S&P was 0.5%. Okay. Now, in the commodity basket, crude oil is down 64 cents. It's a little over 1%. Trading 52.72 last. Gold down $6.10, almost 0.5%. Trading 12.7620 last. So the U.S. is mixed. Commodities are in the red. Let's go to Asia. Asia closed the session with the Nikkei down 111 points, 0.5%. Shanghai was down just 7.25 at the closing bell, and the Hang Seng was actually up 64 points. Last but not least, Europe, who's been struggling the last couple of days, it's green wall to wall. FTSE up 38 points, that's 0.5%. DAX up 197 points, that's 1.5%. And the CAC up 72 points, that's over 1.25%. So Europe's the only solid green we have. Everything else is mixed except commodities, which are mired deeply, ever so deeply, in the red. Okay, I did some thinking last night, you know, as I do, and I was doing some figuring and I was doing some thinking because I got to put together some projections and some business plans and, you know, whatnot. You don't want to hear about all that boring stuff. I have a lot of boring stuff going on. So somebody's got to do it, right? I'm on the no plane, train, and automobile list, so I have to send Michael out. I'm just teasing. Alright, let's get this thing up here. Come on, come on, come on. I didn't want it to take all day. I just wanted to quote a few figures. Ugh. Now, if you're a partner, you should have got this email last night. I'm not going to read the entire email in its entirety because it's really long. You guys have been telling me you wanted an update, you know, and so I laid one on you. Then we're going to have a webinar either this week or next week. There's a couple things in the email I just wanted to point out to the audience at large. For those who don't know, the partner presale has been pushed up a week through next Friday because so many partners, we had some issues with payments, and there's some partners around the globe scrambling to get their payments made, and so rather than pressure people, push people, you know, oh, better get it now or it'll be gone, none of that. We just said, you know, we'll push out another week, you know, and we'll take it from there. After that, then the presale opens to the CFRN community at large, and after that the presale opens to the general public. When that's all done, all said and done, if we have not sold out, then we will look at a traditional ICO. I would just as soon not have to go through that and just be done at the presale. So let me get the chat box open in case anybody has any questions. Looks like there's a bunch of questions. Okay, Ken. Yeah, if Michael said that to you, then yeah, it's good as go. Don't worry about it. No problems. Okay, I already told you the partner pre-sale has been extended through December 8th. Oh, in the email I sent out last night, I suggested that those of you that wanted to wire funds in, if you have an old-fashioned bank that makes you actually go down to the bank to send a wire, which most banks today have their own proprietary methodology. It's not called a wire, but it's a bank-to-bank transfer. So you can use that. You can use a wire, and you just have to let me know you need the wire instructions. But in the email last night to partners, I said WireX looks like a great app, and we're going to accept that as a method of payment. Well, that lasted about 15. I mean, I really studied this thing. The part I missed, because it said, you know, we service 130 countries. I never imagined the U.S. wouldn't be one of those countries. But one of our partners pointed it out to me. And so take WireX off the board and just go with the wire. Now this week we'll be meeting with our advisors and consultants. We will again update you on our progress after the meetings. If you have not read the information available at christiantraders.com, please read it in its entirety, including the honest white paper. Follow the links, read the articles, digest the videos. In doing so, you will be able to make a well-informed decision as to what degree of participation is right for you in what could be the greatest financial innovation in the history of money. We'll be holding a webinar in the next few weeks, as I said, to walk you through the process of obtaining a digital cryptocurrency wallet, as well as talk about the benefits of cold storage. Cold storage is when you take your crypto completely offline, put it in a safe, so the hackers are just out of luck. The response so far has been more than I expected. So of that, I'm quite glad. The partner pre-sale prices remain the same. Buy 2 tokens, get 1 free. They're $1 a piece. Minimum order still 500, which means you get 750 with the bonus. Buy 2, get 1 free. And we do still have that one maximum block of 50,000 coins, and that is the only one available. I know some people are interested in it, but as I said in the email last night, whoever's bank wire gets here first, that's the only fair way to do it. Once upon a time, sending a bank wire was a bit of a chore. Today, most financial institutions will allow you to send a wire both domestic and international right from your desktop. Don't even have to leave the compound. Certificates of ownership are emailed as soon as funds clear. With a bank wire, funds are usually available the same day. Your bank may have another way of transferring funds other than bank wire. I have Bank of America. I also have U.S. Bank, and both of them offer alternatives to sending a wire. So, in this, I listed a whole lot of milestones, and I'm not going to go through those. There's just too many. I did pose a question. Well, you know what? This part here is probably worth sharing. I think. Digital currency is nothing new. Reach into your pockets. Everybody in the audience right now, just reach into your pockets and see if you can find a dollar bill. In fact, make that any form of paper money. Not checks, but money. Survey says, oh, let me bring John on. Hey, John, thanks for the jingle. Glad to have you with us. John, you there? Whoa, I can't hear you, brother. Your mic's open. I can see you're there. Here he comes. You there, John?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to have you with us. Thanks for jingling my phone.
That's all right.
Now, I was just getting ready to share something with the audience, and then I'll turn it over to you and let you share with us your thoughts on the day. But this is an email that was sent to partners last night, and I'm just picking little pieces out of it to share because the whole thing's too long. Digital currency is nothing new. Reach into your pocket and see if you can find a $1 bill. Make that any form of paper money. Survey says 50% or better of you, if you actually did that, came up empty-handed. My point is this: of the entire U.S. money supply, M3 as it was called for the old-timers, less than 30% of U.S. money is ever printed or minted. It gets moved, shuffled, paid out, taken in. It creates paychecks as easily as welfare checks without the judgment. It makes men rich and it makes men poor, yet it's nothing more than coins on the floor that you can't pick up. Why can't you pick them up? Well, at the end of the day, it's just ones and zeros behind a blinking cursor. So everybody's all freaked out. Oh my God, digital currency. Well, we've been dealing with that for an awfully long time. In fact, I saw a statistic this morning that said only 10% of the U.S. money supply is ever printed or minted. So will it survive? Well, I have no doubt that it will survive. We have proof of that already. The question that we pose is, will it thrive? Well, this delightful dancing dollar dandy, courtesy of the Fed, not a government agency, and Congress, not Mensa, has managed to put our nation $17 trillion in debt with their digital bread. Now, you tell me, is that survive or thrive? From Bitcoin to Ether, peso to dollar, just a lot of ones and zeros. Perhaps Solomon was right. Nothing new under the sun. If anyone who's not a partner would really like to read this in-depth email that covers milestones and all kinds of things, send me an email, support@cfrn.net. Support@cfrn.net. And I'll share the email with you. The one last thing I wanted to share. Christians living in the Americas make up 37% of Christians worldwide. The three countries in the Americas with the largest Christian populations in the world are the United States, 247 million, Brazil, 176 million, Mexico, 108 million. Now, the 10 countries in the Americas with the largest number of Christians collectively are home to a third of all the world's Christians. Now, we added up this list of 10, and we came up with a number just over 2 billion. So that's 2 billion people out there that we call believers. Okay? Now, when you're doing any kind of mail order, marketing, sales, whatever, in some industries, you expect a 10% return or response. Sometimes with direct mail, you look for a 1% response. But I took this number, 2 billion, and I multiplied it out by 0.01%. Not 1%, not 10%, but 0.01%. What is 0.01% of 2 billion Christians in these 10 countries? 200,000. If each one of them wanted to buy 5 coins, we don't have enough. I don't expect, 0.1%. I do expect that. I do expect 0.1%. And as you know, we're not going to dilute. We're not going to create more coins. The software engineer and developer this afternoon is going to take a look at how many zeros we're going to put after the decimal point. Because otherwise, this thing could eventually get so expensive that people couldn't afford it. It's kind of like what happened with the S&P 500 contract many years ago. People loved trading it, but it got so expensive nobody could afford it. That's why they cut it in fifths and came out with the S&P 500 Emini. Now, our smart contract is written in such a way that we can't, just flip-flop and change and print more coins. But what we can do is we have to make this final decision on what will follow the decimal point. So again, if you want the entire email in its entirety, if there's anything that would offend a partner that somebody else read, I'll take that out. But it's pretty generic. Okay, so that's enough of my rambling. John, how are you today?
Not too bad, thanks. Unfortunately, my system went down this morning, or overnight actually, yesterday afternoon. I just got it back on, so I'm able to talk a little bit more intelligently about what happened. Notwithstanding, on Friday, I think we mentioned we went long the grains early on, and then we've been actually buying the dips in the grains, including the corn, thanks to Mike, and everything ran up, the grains opened higher Sunday night. I thought they were going to open higher, and they ran up pretty sharply, but, as usual, the beans got knocked down. We put a sell in at 1,006, and even though we didn't have our system, and here we are at 998. I'd probably look to be covering here, because I think sometimes the traders don't let the beans go in the night without getting a good entry point for themselves. So they probably broke it down. The question is this a buy opportunity here, or is it going to end up in a disaster, and sell off in the next week or so, which could happen. Right now, look, since we were long and short, I'd take a shot and probably try and cover in reverse here. Look to cover in reverse. I'm not sure I'd do it this very minute, but certainly if we start getting back up over 1,000, I think a definite reverse quickly. The oil is all down today, quite a bit. So the OPEC, whatever they didn't seem to do much. Selling off on the news, I guess, a little bit like the market is, off the highs at least. Incidentally, because the markets gapped up yesterday, and we were long from Friday going into this. The gold suffered a bit overnight, although it did rally up a few dollars to 1280. The silver also got hit to a little bit, not too much. The dust, which we originally recommended a few days ago on the show at about 25, is at 28 this morning, and the J dust we recommended around 60, 61 or so, I think it was, and it's 67 and a half, 67.30 right now. I would put stops underneath the dust here, and I would put buy stops above on all the gold stocks, on the JNUG and everything, because it doesn't appear to me. Look, the gold is not. The platinum is a bit of a problem today. I mean, this thing. I really thought it has been acting much better in recent days, but both the platinum and the palladium got knocked down pretty hard. We actually sold the palladium up around 1020, and it's down to 994 now. And the platinum, we sold that around 950 somewhere, 950 something, and it's down to 925 again. That's not a good sign. So I guess, look, we've only got another 10 days before the Fed. Are they going to do it again on December the 15th?
I think so.
Well, if it is, they're probably going to raise rates. But the interesting thing is, last year the gold dropped $40, and then that was the bottom, the very same day. I'm kind of thinking that this year, because we're so much further on, inflation is starting to rear its head. I mean, we're definitely a higher inflation today than we were a year ago. There's no doubt about that. So the possibility of gold, look, it might pull back $5 or $10, who knows? But if it starts going straight up on the Fed, and dramatically so, that could be the signal that the bull market in gold is earnestly underway. Now we're quite a ways from that happening yet. So, but there are other factors that could influence the gold, and silver could easily just come out of nowhere and go back up. So I'd be ready for that. Right now, I actually put a stop at 12, buy stop at 1280. Not the one that got spiked after that, but I'd probably lower the buy stop down to maybe 1278 now, and maybe even 1277 and a half, somewhere like that. And the silver probably 1634 in the, just in case it sort of suddenly pops up. The market is a sort of a buy the rumors, sell the news a little bit. We got obviously the reaction to the tax cut. By the way, all these morons who keep saying the tax cut's not gonna do anything for the economy. I mean, they're so far off. They're so ignorant. They don't understand that the tax cuts in the 80s basically gave us the 90s. And Mr. Wonderful himself, you know, the guy on
Shark Tank?
this week, no, not him, he's a good guy, but the George Stephanopoulos, you know, I never thought I'd hear this, but he came out in the show yesterday and said, well, you know, we've never had two 9-year bull markets in a, you know, back to back. And he said, well, you know, what about the 90s? You know, it's exactly what this guy from Merrill Lynch said in 1990, what we were talking about last week. And he actually came out and said it. He says the market's gone up 9 years in a row. How can it go up another 9 years? Well, it happened before, and it's actually more primed to happen now than ever, especially with these tax cuts. And part of the reason was, I mean, even though we got the crash of 87, and by the way, that was after the market doubled from the previous tax cuts, right? It never, you know, the interesting thing is, even though the crash of 87, it never went below where the tax cuts, you know, emanated from, right? And after that, we had a 20-year bull market. So, you know, it's pretty much, or certainly a 10-year bull market. And then we had we had a couple of rough years, and then we had another bull market into 2007. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I must be the only guy in the world and I'm sort of like watching these every single show, and all these ignoramuses are saying this and that, and they obviously have no concept. They have no economic grip of what's happening in the country, and the incredible, you know, results of Trump being elected and what's happened since. And this guy, Jeffrey Siegel, you know, from Wharton, I mean, this guy's supposed to be the business, you know, educator, MBA and all that. I mean, what is he teaching people? He can't even figure out himself what I told people on this show last week, that the bull market started on September the 28th of 2015, the day that Trump announced his tax cuts. And look, the market has a way of anticipating things ahead of time. It's been doing that for generations. It's the way the world works. And the two definitive dates are there for everybody to see. September 28th and February 10th, 11th, the day that Trump won New Hampshire, because New Hampshire, you know, corn is for Iowa's for corn, New Hampshire's for presidents. Just the same as when Bill Clinton won. So that was a seminal moment in time and in history, and the markets responded, and the market's been going up ever since. It's plain and simple. And he said, oh, you know, Trump's got nothing to do with the bull market. I mean, give me a break. How could you say something like that? It's just
that is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. And this guy's a professor, you know, Jesus. So I'm sort of, and then I'm listening to all these Sunday shows, or bits and pieces of them, and nobody stood up, which I'm going to do right now, and say, you know what, the tax cuts already you know, in real terms, the tax cuts already paid for itself. Why? Because the economy's grown faster and better than it has in a decade, and secondly, the market's up $6 trillion. So, you know, we might, if it costs $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion to get $6 trillion in wealth, what's not to like about that? And that's what all these ignoramus Democrats keep going on about, harping on about every day. And they managed to convince, you know, get everybody's like 60% against this tax cut, and they're crazy. You know, they're absolutely crazy. No, you know, this tax cut, because of the corporate factor, the corporate aspect of it, and all this nonsense about the 10 years. You know, they keep picking on this stuff. Listen, you know what? If this tax cut works as well as I think it will, and we really do get a run into 2020 and beyond, I mean, I think they're going to pass a revision and make it permanent. You know, why wouldn't they? Especially before the election, you know. So, I mean, it's just so short-sighted. But the other interesting thing is, you know, we basically pretty much averaged 3% growth all the year, you know. I mean, and the cost of this thing was like a 0.4% of growth is what it has to create to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's 3 point? What are we doing? Right, 3.3 right now. Well, apparently it's 3 point. Let's call it 3 divided by 0.4. I think we've paid for about half of the tax cut already in years based on that. Do you get it?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So and if we start accelerating to 4% and we get through the next year, actually if we get through another year at 3% average, then the whole thing is paid for pretty much. You know, it's paid for in anticipation and actuality.
Right.
So it's I mean, you know, do they want to scrap the tax cut at this point and give back $6 trillion in wealth? You know, like the market implodes. I don't think so. So it's such an obvious argument. I'm kind of almost offended that the people can't see this, can't see the benefit of what this has done for the world and for the economy since, you know, this year. It's amazing. I mean, even today, we're up 192 points right now, and we've had a bit of a shakeout in the Nasdaq. We had this happen about 2 or 3 months ago. I think maybe back in August, September. We had a couple of a pretty bad shakeout in the Nasdaq. You know, when Google and Netflix and Priceline all got hit. You know, the market, the Nasdaq had quite a shakeout, while the S&P didn't really budge, and same sort of thing happening today. And it looks to me like the Nasdaq is starting to accelerate higher, taking back what it's given up in the last couple of days, and that could be very, very bullish if that happens. So, you know, even though we didn't have the system on this morning, we actually sold the Dow right up at the high and shorted it, and we just covered it a short while ago. All the indices, so they are, you know, they're just edging higher right now. So if they were to turn down, we would sell them again. But for the moment, they're rallying okay, and the VIXs are making new lows. We were very, very fortunate last week. We got out of the VIXs right at almost at the highs after holding them for multiple days, and that was a huge, you know, thanks to what's that guy's name on ABC?
Matt Lauer?
The fellow who the guy who Brian Ross. Oh. The Brian Ross VIX spike was a very financially beneficial to people who followed our advice and bought VIXs, because they got a 5-point pop in like no time at all. I was very fortunate, and you know, listen, you could just tell. I mean, I didn't know. We just tried to get out near the top because it was pretty dramatic. Just the same way as I said to you on Friday, we couldn't pick the bottom of the market because it was so fast, you know. But we got in more or less near the lows and got that rebound, the whole rebound. And all the bank stocks, look at JP Morgan today, they're just going insane. They're all dramatically higher.
Bank of America up over 4%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a really great day, another great day, except for the Nasdaq. And unfortunately, because our system, we did get the short on Nvidia. And some of these other Nasdaq stocks from higher levels, but I think they're turning as well. So in fact, it is turning quite well. To Google, all of them are starting to rally really quite well, except for a few of the pharmaceuticals. So the other few things that are going on, the coffee looked like it was going somewhere last week, up around 132. Back down again to 128, but I think the coffee might have, you know, I think the lows may be in on the coffee. Sugar's meandering around the 15 at the moment. Orange juice is come off a bit from the highs, but it's holding in. And lumber is a little bit off where we sold it on Friday at 436. It's 434 right now. I'd be the lumber acted better than I thought. We actually got stuck back into it from 426 last week, and we're I'd be if it starts going up again, I'd want to be back long, I think. And the same with the cotton, which is also acting pretty well. The grains, look, just since we started talking about them, they started picking back up. So they really do look like, you probably want to be long again on the grains.
Yeah, on soybeans last night, we gapped open above our buy price. So
what happens when you do that? What you buy anyway?
No, we just sit it out.
Okay. Well, you would have made money anyway because it gapped open, but it did actually go up.
It actually continued on. Everything else just gapped and died.
Yeah. So that's about it, I guess.
Okay, John.
The big question is, having had such a strong liftoff here, it's pretty important that we hold these gains today. And if we do kind of consolidate, which we appear to be doing, not so much in the Nasdaq, but in the Dow and the S&P, and actually the mid cap is not acting too badly either, then there's a reasonable chance we'll continue this rally into tomorrow and beyond. However, there is the risk of this so-called government shutdown, and what else that might, and this fighting over what the two houses are going to, or the two groups are going to end up with. I hope they end up with more of the House version and get the thing going right away in 2018. And also the AMT, probably take that out, would be a good idea. Then they're going to have, pretty perfect deal. So the VIX is making new lows here, which is something that tells us the market is getting better here. It's not guaranteed by any means, but if we did go down, start making, I think if we start making PM lows in the market this afternoon, I think you have to sell and reverse, because there's this is a big piece of good news, but there's not much good news around the corner just immediately ahead that we can see, other than what kind of buying power is going to keep this market going, given some of the sharp sell-offs we've seen in the number of stocks today, earlier on.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, listen, John, thanks for the end. And
thank you. Hang on. Mike wanted me to pass on to you that he feels like a good technical support for platinum is 917.
He's probably right. He's very good at catching those numbers. And if it held 917, that would be very encouraging. So I totally agree with him.
Okay. Well, thank you, John, so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right. Guys, we've talked about the Winklevoss twins on more than one occasion. They and Bitcoin are both back to their winning ways. Bitcoin posted a record high yesterday. I've been telling you guys that watch Sundays, because for whatever reason, Bitcoin seems to rally on Sundays. Hasn't been a long enough period of time for me to, call it a market truth, but it's certainly something I've taken notice of. Now, when Bitcoin posted a new record high on Sunday, it also made billionaires of the twins, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. And if you don't know who they are, they were once friends with Mark Zuckerberg, and they claim that Mark stole their idea. And so there was a big court case, and they were rewarded handsomely, and they'll have fun the rest of their life. Now, Bitcoin suffered big price falls last week, but recovered over the weekend. The digital currency hit a new high of $11,826.76 a coin on Sunday, surpassing its previous high of about $11,300. The digital currency retraced some of its gains Sunday after hitting the peak. As of 8:05 a.m. GMT on Monday, Bitcoin was up almost 3% against the dollar to 11,554.83. Now we went just high enough to stop out on the S&P and just low enough to step out. So nothing to write home about there, most certainly. On the Dow, a wee bit better, not a lot. On soybeans, we gapped over the price we wanted to buy at. When that happens, well, you're just kind of lost behind. You know, Bear, I'll look and see if I see one. Bear wants to know if we could get a special radio trade today. I will look here in just a moment. Okay, on the NQ, we said consider selling 63.65. That did drop 90 points at $20 a point. That's a nice trade. On the Russell, we said to consider buying 15.54. Ran up 3.5 points, ran up 8 points. Bonds, we were looking to buy 154.23, hasn't even gotten there. Crude, I already pointed it out, sell 57.95, dropped first, 120 per contract. However, important prices and important areas are almost always tested. Right? And so what does it do? It's back above the trigger. Down we go again. And this little move here, $200 per contract available. And then what does price do? It gets back above the trigger, and it gives us even a third trade. Can't say it enough. Been saying it for years. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. If people say, well, how do I know it's an important price or an important area? Because I send it to you in an email. It looks a little something like this. Those are last night's Concierge Trade Alerts. They went out at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. If you'd like to take a screenshot, by all means, feel free. Okay. Now, these are last week's trading zones, but I just want to point out that from this zone to this zone is over $1,000 per contract, and from this zone to this zone, over $1,000 per contract. Plus, inside of the zones, yesterday we said buy 57.75, good for $1,000. And then last night we said sell 57.95, and it gave us 3 trade opportunities. Gold gap lower last night. I really thought we were going to see some movement, and look at this. The entire session has been in and around this 1-point range, 77/78. And I might add, that's last week's weekly trading zone. So, what are you gonna do? I don't know. Okay, so we bring it back to the S&P. Bear, you asked for the trade. What market do you have the most interest in, or do you care? Do you want a crude trade? Do you want a S&P trade? Anything but bonds or Russell? Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at crude for a minute. Yeah, I think crude, here's the radio trade. Consider selling 57.45. Initial target, okay, so 57.45, initial target 57.25, final target 57.05. So from 45 to 05, that's potential 40-point move or 400 or 40 tick move, $400 per contract available. And since the first move, 57.45 to 57.25, let's put our stop see, we're going to sell 57.40. Let's put our stop at 57.60. It's 20 ticks, $200. And then once we trigger 45, looking for 25, and then after 25, looking for 5. Okay. Those are based off this week's weekly trading zones. All right. All right, guys. That'll do it now for today. I want to thank you so very much for tuning in. If you have any questions about anything, call us 949-423-6464. Email us support@cfrn.net. We got so much going on. We're incredibly busy, but we're never too busy to talk to you. All right? That's all right. If you need those wire instructions, just send an email, support@cfrn.net, and just say, this is Joe Blow, and I need the wiring instructions. We'll get them right out to you. Okay? All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, oh, you know what? I don't think we're getting audio off this back machine, so you may not hear the outro. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.